What's up everybody, how's it going? It's Burke aka Dansg08 here. I hope you guys are all having a great day. It's time for me to hit you with a long hangout because there's been a lot of stuff that's been building up and I've been putting it off and I felt like now is the right time to hit you guys with all of this information. Now, because there's a lot of talking points that's built up, it's going to be very tiring and difficult for me to do it all in front of camera. So I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of an intro here and then we will kick into it and try to talk about all of the things that I need to talk about because there's a lot of stuff coming up. I mean, we got the 100k subscribers coming up like really soon. I think I'm on like 99,800 or something like that. So that's really exciting stuff. The 10-year anniversary is less than a month away as well. So they're almost going to be happening at exactly the same time, which is really cool. Aside from that, there's a big new release coming out, which I'm interested in playing, which I'm going to talk to you guys about, and just more stuff in general about what's going to be happening with me and with the channel. So let's get into it, guys.
Right then, my friends, let's begin. There is a lot of stuff to discuss in this one. Let me just start with the fact that, as you would have noticed from the intro, those of you guys that follow my hangouts will know that that was my bedroom in the UK. So I'm back in my family home right now. I'm here for some work-related stuff that I want to be chasing up. Basically, long story short, my goal is to try and find some filmmaking-related work in this country so that I've got, you know, both options. So I can do work in Turkey and I can also do work here. And in the longer run, so looking like years into the future, I want to kind of re-establish myself back here, most likely. So I'm just trying to lay a few foundations while I'm back here, try and chase up a few opportunities and see if there are any opportunities here in the filmmaking world. Now that I've built some sort of CV for myself out in Turkey. So that's kind of phase I'm in right now. That's why I'm a little bit busy back here. But hopefully we will see how that all pans out. That's just some non-YouTube related stuff to let you guys know where I am geographically and what kind of things I'm up to in terms of like my main day-to-day grind. So something pretty cool happened recently. Those of you guys that follow the channel will know that I made a documentary called Gaming Through New Eyes. If this is the first time that you've heard of that kind of stuff, go into the channel and search for Gaming Through New Eyes and you'll find a 15-minute documentary about a blind video game fan who has done some incredible things and has a really unique perspective on the world of gaming as someone who has been blind since birth. So I would really recommend you to go watch it so that you know what I'm talking about for this next bit. But this documentary was picked up by a distribution company who were basically starting up a gaming network that was going to be available on various online streaming platforms, and it's called WHAM, so WHAM WHAM. And there was a long process here. Basically they wanted me to shoot some extra content because the 14 minutes wasn't long enough for the slot they wanted. So we came to an arrangement where I would go and meet back up with Toby and his family and shoot some extra content and beef up the documentary to make it into something that's closer to the 25-minute mark. And that's exactly what I did. It turned out really well. I'm really happy with how it went. I got to interview Toby's father, who is an incredibly inspiring man. It was one of the best interviews I think I've ever had. He was just absolutely awesome. So he's one of the things that I've added to the documentary. I also got to film Toby playing some video games, Final Fantasy XII in particular, with a volunteer who comes from a blind association who comes to help Toby play video games and to enjoy video games to the fullest extent. So I got to shoot some footage to actually show you guys how it works when someone else comes to play with Toby, so the kind of teamwork that's involved, that's needed for Toby to defeat difficult bosses in a game like Final Fantasy XII. So it's really cool stuff. People who are on my Patreon would have seen this already. That's one of the like perks that those guys get. They get to see things that haven't quite hit the public kind of stream yet. So those guys got to watch the 25-minute cut a few months back. But now the good news is that all of this negotiations and setting up the network and all that stuff has been completed, and WHAM went live a few days ago. So at the moment it's limited. I don't think they're available on all the platforms that they want to be available on yet, but the main one for you guys that's going to be easiest for you to see is going to be Twitch. So they have a Twitch channel now that is broadcasting 24/7, and my documentary has its own slot, so it's available, I think it's 11, somewhere around 11 AM Eastern Standard Time. So I'll post up a link to WHAM's Twitch. You can go on there. They've got like a program schedule anyway, and you can see Gaming Through New Eyes on there if you haven't seen it already. I would definitely recommend it. It was a really fun project to make, and I'm sure it's going to be, no pun intended, an eye-opening experience for you. So definitely check out the documentary. It took a lot of work to get it out there, especially the 25-minute cut, but I think it's all been worth it. So if you can, catch it, and I hope you enjoy it. So with that kind of stuff out of the way, let's talk more about YouTube and let's talk more about Final Fantasy, because I know you guys love a bit of Final Fantasy. So Final Fantasy VIII has just wrapped. You guys would hopefully have just seen the last episode that I uploaded, so that was Omega Weapon. It was a really bloody good game. I mean, I'm not going to talk about Final Fantasy VIII, the game, because I spent about half an hour on part 73 kind of giving pretty much a review of the game. It was probably the closest thing I've ever done to a review, which was different, but it was good fun. I'm going to talk more about the fact that you guys were really good with Final Fantasy VIII. I mean, the viewership was good, the view numbers were pretty good compared to some of the previous stuff that I did, considering it's such an old game and it's not some kind of remaster or remake or re-release or anything like that. I was pleasantly surprised by the numbers, you know, even though I keep trying to get you guys to make sure you remember to like videos nowadays, the general number of likes was higher than it was for most of the other stuff that I did. So thank you guys that remembered to like videos, and hopefully you guys will start to get yourselves into a habit of liking new videos as they come out, because it genuinely does help. If anything, just from a psychological perspective, a lot of people kind of say, oh yeah, but the algorithm, likes, dislikes, doesn't really matter, blah blah. It's just a psychological thing. If you guys can get into the habit of remembering to like videos, it's always going to be beneficial to the people who put in the time and effort to create that content. I'm very much guilty of it myself, so I always have to remember to kind of go back and like a video that I've really enjoyed, because once you get to the end of a video, your instinct tells you to just skip ahead. But just try to remember to like them, because it definitely helps. But in that sense, Final Fantasy VIII was a great success. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciated it. I had a really fun time playing it, and thank you for joining me for the ride. It was a really good time. In terms of what's next, you guys should already know the answer, but in case you haven't been following along and you don't, it will be Final Fantasy XIII-2 as promised. I did say I would play that game one day, and I uploaded the first hour of the game at the same time I uploaded part 1 of Final Fantasy VIII. That's probably forgotten now because I've uploaded a lot of videos since then, so I will likely delete the old version and re-upload the first hour just to let you guys know that we are kind of getting going with that game again. So Final Fantasy XIII-2 will be the next Final Fantasy content that will go up on the channel. Again, that would likely be like 60 parts, 80 parts, 100 parts, I really don't know. But it's likely not going to be a game which I'm going to finish like in terms of 100%. So with a game like Final Fantasy XII, I actually ended up doing a lot of the game's content, and I think I played for near enough 100 hours. Final Fantasy VIII, I think I got most of it as well, especially like, you know, all the optional GFs. Ultima, Omega, I got the Lionheart, so I did a fair few things. But Final Fantasy XIII-2, I think I'm more inclined to just do you know, a more like a spontaneous like first time run through of the game, because I think it'll be the second time I'm playing the game, but I don't really remember much from it, and there's so many alternative paths you can take and so many alternate endings that for me to kind of juggle through and just kind of complete all of it and turn it into this big guide, it's not really a Final Fantasy that I feel passionate enough about to really consider something like that. So I'd rather just I would definitely have more fun if I just play through it however I felt like playing through it. And as I'm sure you guys have probably picked up by now, the more fun I have when I'm playing a game, the better that reflects on my commentary and the more fun you guys will have watching it. So that's probably what will happen with Final Fantasy II, but even though that's the case, it will still be a pretty long series, so I will not be moving on to any other Final Fantasies probably until like nearer the end of the year now, because there's going to be summer in between and things can happen over summer and that kind of thing. So over the next few months it's going to be Final Fantasy XIII-2 in terms of your Final Fantasy content on the channel. Once that's done, Final Fantasy VII I'm kind of undecided, because when I first considered should I do Final Fantasy VII, the remake was starting to gather up a lot of hype. You know, there's trailers being released and that kind of stuff, and I was like, oh okay, so the remake is actually quite close. I probably shouldn't bother playing through the old one. But now that time has moved on, that we haven't really heard too much about the remake and we don't really have a release date. So let's say I finish Final Fantasy XIII-2 and it's like, I don't know, July, August, September, October, something like that, and there's still nothing about the remake. It's still probably like a year away. If that's the case, I will do Final Fantasy VII, because my plan is to eventually work my way back all the way to the beginning of Final Fantasy history. So next up on the list will be Final Fantasy VII. That will be a game that you guys can expect to see nearer the end of the year, unless there is some kind of big announcement and Final Fantasy VII Remake is actually really close by, in which case I might bypass like the PS1 version and just play the remake. So we'll take that one as it comes. Portal 2 is still ongoing. I know there's only about 600 of you that's watching it, which is just, it does make me a bit upset inside, but I've given up trying to get people to watch Portal 2. Maybe it's just me, maybe Portal 2 is just not a fun enough game, but Honestly, look at the Metacritic scores. You know, it's a critically acclaimed game. It's really, really interesting. It's really unique. There's no other game like it that I've ever played before. Portal 2 is much more expanded compared to the previous one. There's a lot more humor in it. There's a lot more to do. There's a lot more story in there. So, again, you know, it would be really nice if I could get more people to watch series like Portal, but it's just something that I've not been able to achieve, unfortunately. But it's still ongoing, so don't worry about whether more parts are going to come out. Is it going to be completed? The series is already done and dusted. It's been recorded and edited from a long time ago, so I will continue to release parts as we move on. Finally, in terms of game-related news, two other games I want to talk about. First is God of War. That's coming out very, very soon, so within days of this video coming out. This God of War piqued my interest because I think I saw an E3 trailer or some kind of trailer, and I noticed that Kratos had a young companion, which is his son. So I was like, that's interesting, a companion story. So usually when there's some kind of companionship, the story element of any given game is stronger. So your mind goes to a game like The Last of Us, for example, which was all about, you know, having a companion with you going on that journey. So I would imagine that if God of War has a more companionship element, we're probably still going to get the hardcore kind of action that God of War fans love. But for people like me who care a little bit more about like the story elements of the game as opposed to just the raw gameplay and action, it seems like there's something there for me. So this game has intrigued me. It looks absolutely fantastic. The only thing obviously I'm not sure about is, because I've never really played a God of War game properly before, is in terms of gameplay, am I going to be able to get used to it? But all I can say is I'm very curious about it, and I'm pretty excited to just see if it's going to be any good, because I've looked at some of the reviews have come out recently, and they have been absolutely fantastic across the board, with a lot of people saying that it's basically one of the best games that's ever come out on the PS4, that's a PS4 exclusive. So when I look at the reviews and I think about my curiosity, I think, man, I've got to give this a go. And I'm going to be totally honest, God of War is one of those games that has a really big fan base, and it tends to get quite a lot of viewership. So maybe it'll end up doing better than, let's say, a Portal 2. So if I could upload it near release time and maybe get like a few thousand views per video, that'd be like a nice, it'd be like a sweet little boost for the channel. So we'll just see how it goes. But the main reason I want to do God of War is because I'm genuinely interested in it, because of that whole companionship element, and I want to see where they go with it and how much story we're going to get out of that. So God of War will be coming to the channel very soon. Final game I want to talk about is Bloodborne, interestingly enough. So Bloodborne is a game that has been mentioned to me a fair few times over like the last year or two. I think it's been out for maybe like 2 years now, I don't remember. But there's one person in particular who constantly just like wanted me to play Bloodborne, and he was like harassing me on all platforms. And I say this like in a kind way, I'm not trying to like bash him or anything like that. He's a long time fan of the channel, really cool guy, but he's just kind of like poking me on every platform, like, you got to play this, you got to play this, oh look, you know, this is really good, this is like right up your alley, you're going to enjoy this, blah blah. And I kept saying to him, yeah, I'm not sure, man, like I've got other stuff to play. But he just kept harassing me and harassing me and harassing me and poking me and poking me. And the last thing he said was, look man, if you don't mind, can I just like buy you the game? So I will get you the game and you can have it like on your PSN. Just play it, just promise me that you'll just play it, at least give it a go once. And I was like, okay man, like, you know, you have been pestering me about this for like over a year probably. So I was like, okay, fine, I accept your game. I will have it on my PlayStation, and I promise you I will at least play a session of Bloodborne. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So once this God of War thing blows over, because it's such a fresh new release and such a big title, it's become such a huge franchise, obviously I've got to try and get my God of War content out there. But once that's all blown over, then I will definitely sit down to record a session of Bloodborne. If people are interested in it, they're like, oh wow, like we love the way you're playing this game, or your reactions to it or whatever, and there's a viewership there, then there's no reason why I wouldn't want to continue if I'm enjoying the game. So Bloodborne is something that will also be coming to the channel. Exactly when, I don't know, but a promise is a promise. I will be uploading it unless something cataclysmic happens. So Bloodborne will be coming to the channel as well. And that will round up all of the like games and what's coming on the channel related type stuff in terms of walkthroughs. In terms of things outside of walkthroughs, I've got a few ideas. I've jotted down a few videos that I want to potentially do. One is a series about Final Fantasy, because over time I've always considered that when I want to do more kind of analytical and discussion type videos, I always shy away from doing videos about Final Fantasies other than 10 because I don't feel like I know them well enough. So there's a lot of Final Fantasy channels out there that are very knowledgeable about a variety of Final Fantasy games. So yes, okay, I know a lot about Final Fantasy X, but when it comes to Final Fantasy IX, I've only played through it once, so I know however much a person who's played through it once would know. But there's people out there that have an encyclopedic knowledge of almost every single Final Fantasy game. So I feel like if I'm the one that's trying to talk about Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy XII, I just feel like I'm not really qualified enough for it. So I feel like I just don't feel like the right person to be talking about that kind of stuff. So that's why I've tended to shy away from that and not really do it too much. I tend to try and stick to what I'm good at. But as time has gone on, since I've started to play more and more of the Final Fantasy series now, I've actually played, I think I've played every single Final Fantasy, numbered Final Fantasy, from the PS1 era onwards. So I've played 7, 8, 9, 10, 10-2, 12, 13, all three of them, and 15. So that's literally all of them except for the multiplayer titles. So most of them I play through once, some of them I play through twice or 3 times, and obviously Final Fantasy X is another story. But I feel like now that I've got a broader knowledge of the Final Fantasy universe, having played all of the more quote-unquote modern-day titles, I feel like maybe I can start to make videos more about the Final Fantasy universe rather than just Final Fantasy X. So I have a few ideas in mind, and I think I'll probably discuss them on Patreon, because the peeps on Patreon, I always try to give them something a little bit extra because they're supporting the channel. They're kind of going above and beyond to support the channel, so I tend to try and let them in on this kind of stuff a little bit more. So I'll probably pitch a few of the ideas I have to those guys, see what kind of response I'm getting, and then probably work on a few more videos where I'll need a little bit more scripting, a little bit more research, a little bit more preparation, because I always like to do that kind of stuff, just sprinkle in a few things that just switch it up for me. And I think people tend to like when I try to share my thoughts on things and discuss things and that kind of stuff. So I feel like it might be something I should be doing a little bit more of on the channel. But those videos take a long time to do, they take a long time to research and prepare and edit and that kind of stuff. And if you don't get the views back in response, it's always not worth it in terms of, should I spend my time making walkthrough videos or should I spend my time doing that? So time will tell, but I do have some ideas, I do have some plans, and I'll be sharing those with you guys soon. Okay then, with that business over, something a little bit more interesting. If you've been following the YouTube feed or my Twitter or anything like that, you guys will hopefully know that I've opened up an Instagram account. Instagram is something I've actually been using personally for many years now. I use it as a photo archive. I'm not hugely active on it. I don't really care about hashtags and followers and that kind of shit. I kind of use it more as just a visual diary of places I've been, just things that I've seen, things I've done, that kind of thing. So I've been using it for a long time. I really love the platform. Obviously, as a filmmaker, I'm kind of a visually stimulated person, so I'm always on the lookout for nice photos. I take a lot of photos when I travel, so it's a platform that I jive with. So more so than Twitter, I do enjoy Instagram a lot. So I thought, you know what, why don't I just make one for Dansg08? Because I thought, you know what, we're nearing 100,000 subscribers now, which is something I'm going to talk about very soon. Maybe there's going to be a few thousand among them that's going to want to follow me on Instagram, see a bit more of a personal side to my life, because we've got the whole story thing. So, you know, while I'm just doing things, I'll share little bits and pieces of what I'm up to, places that I'm going to, things I'm doing. So if you guys want to get a little bit more of a look into what kind of stuff I get up to when I'm not just creating walkthroughs and that kind of stuff, then do check out my Instagram. There's a lot of cat stuff, a lot of cute cat stuff. Coco the cat's featuring heavily in there. Belle the Bichon, she's a Bichon Frise. She's our family dog in the UK. She's really cute as well. She features a lot in there. So you've got your cuteness components in there. You've got some more travel photography, so some of the nicer photos I've taken during my travels. You know, of course you've got your YouTube Final Fantasy related kind of stuff as well. So it's a fun platform. I've been having a lot of fun on there. People have been sending me some interesting direct messages and lots of comments. It's a very interactive kind of platform, so I've been enjoying that. Even more so than Twitter, because you can upload a photo and, you know, by the next day you could have over 100 likes and you can have loads of comments and that kind of thing. I mean, with YouTube, I upload a video and my videos barely get 150 likes. On Instagram, I've only got about 700-800 followers so far, and already my photos are getting well over 100 likes. So that interactivity is a fun thing for me. So do join in the fun. If you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, do that. Maybe you should create one. I don't know. It's a really fun platform. There's a lot of interesting, a lot of cool people on there. You should check it out for sure. So That's my little plug for my Instagram page. Now we come to the fact that the channel is nearing 100,000 subscribers. So when your channel starts to grow and it starts to reach like closer to these kind of thresholds, I think you become a bit more of a prospect for people who want to sponsor you, who want to send you free shit. I mean, if you see channels like Casey Neistat's a good example. Casey has like almost 10 million subscribers now, but even when he had like 1 million, 2 million, something like that, you could see in his videos that he would have just like tens and tens of packages of companies just sending him free shit, like, for the love of God, please promote our stuff, please try it, that kind of thing. And with me, when it comes to sponsorships, I probably mentioned this like a very, very long time ago, back when the channel was a lot smaller, and I always said that I would never like sell out in terms of like, I would never create content that I wouldn't want to create just for the sake of someone paying me to do it. And that's something that's never changed, and that's something that hopefully will not change. I can never say never. I don't like saying things like, you know, oh, I would never ever ever do this, because I don't like eating my words later on, but I will always do my best to try to not have to fall into that kind of trap. And I mean, 99.9%, that's something that's not going to happen on the channel. What will happen every now and again, and that's something that I'm going to talk to you guys about now so that you guys can hear it from me in advance, so when you do see it, it's not going to go, oh wow, what's this, where did this come from? As a YouTuber, obviously I have an audience and I am a quote-unquote influencer, so as my channel grows I get more opportunities with this kind of stuff. Now, how would this help? At the end of the day, as a YouTuber and as someone who uses technology in order to create the content that you guys are watching, there are certain needs that I have. So, you know, whether it be my computer, whether it be my PlayStation, whether it be my recording equipment, my microphone, etc, etc, etc. Now, since I'm not a tech channel and I don't plan to be a tech channel, there's not going to be a situation where I'm going to be like, oh, can I get a new GPU please, and I'll make like a GPU review video about it. That's not really what I want to do, because I'm not a tech channel. I don't want to just start doing that so I can get some free shit from companies. What I thought I could do though, which would be a good balance, is ask companies for things that I need for my channel, and in return I will offer them social media coverage of whatever product that they send me. So as your channel grows, as your influence grows on like digital media or whatever, you start to realize that there's more opportunities out there than you might realize. And one of the things that I've started to learn, I think just in general in life, has been, if you don't ask, you don't get, man. Like, so many things in life, you just have to ask the question. I think a lot of us, I mean, I'm very, very reluctant to ask people for things. It's just, I think it's just a character trait that I have. I'm not really good at that kind of stuff. But I think as time has gone on, and as I've started to get a few things from people just because I've asked, it started to open up more doors for me. So I'll give you guys an example of something that's happening at the moment. Basically, as someone who's created almost 1,900 videos now, and you guys know how long my videos are, and that most of them are in HD, so that's a lot of flipping data. And one thing that I've struggled with is backing up every single video I've ever made. And most of the time what I do is I figure, look, at the end of the day, if something happens and I lose my channel, I'm probably never going to be able to just sit down and re-upload like 2,000 videos like all over again. So what I've been doing for most series that I don't think the visuals are super important, I've just been downloading the YouTube copy. So let's say I make a walkthrough episode and it's usually somewhere between 2.5 and 3.5 gigabytes of data. So I upload that, but then the YouTube like compressed version is usually around 800 megabytes to 1 gigabyte maximum. So that's the version that I end up backing up, because I figure, you know what, the originals take up too much space and I'm just going to work with like the smaller versions. And then I thought, you know what, as time goes on, it would be nice if I could save like my higher quality original copies, but I just didn't have a hard drive big enough. Currently I had a 4 terabyte hard drive that had all of my backups, and I was like, I need something bigger. So I started to shop around and I was looking at like 8 terabyte hard drives, and they were like, I think around 200 for like decent ones. And I was thinking, you know what, why don't I just try emailing like one of these hard drive retailers and just ask, are they willing to send me a hard drive so that I can make my backups in exchange for me sharing it on the channel. So like I'll do like a tweet about it, I'll post something on the YouTube community tab, I'll put it in my list of equipment in my about page, I'll share it on Instagram. I don't need to make videos about it, just share a few photos of it and that'll be done. If they don't give it, fair enough, I don't really care. So I sent the email literally just asking if they're willing to send me a hard drive that I can use as a backup, so the highest capacity hard drive that they have that I could use. And I wasn't really expecting anything, because I said in the email, I mean, this is probably not a good idea, but this is just the kind of person I am. I was like, look, yes, I do want this free hard drive if you're willing to collaborate with me, but I'm not willing to actually make a video about your hard drive. I mean, when you think of that from a PR standpoint, you're like, why the fuck would I give this guy anything? But I thought, you know what, why don't I just try my luck? What's the worst that could happen? So I said to them, look, what I'm willing to do is to like make a community post about it on YouTube, like Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of thing. And I said, that's like the best I can offer you. If that's something that you want to do, then I'm happy to collaborate. So I think like 5 or 6 days went by and I heard nothing back, and I was like, yeah, okay, that was never going to happen anyway. And then I got an email back and they were like, oh yeah, we'd be happy to help you out on this. We've got these, we've got 2 different options for you if you're willing to use them. I was like, holy shit, whoa. And I looked at them and like the retail price was like quite expensive. And I was like, fuck, these guys are sending me like, they want to send me something that's actually quite expensive. I just felt weird. I was like, whoa, should I even accept this? Like, it felt weird to me because I've gotten a few little like mini freebies before, but I've never gotten something like this valuable. So it came as a bit of a shock to me when it happened. So yeah, I looked through it and I was like, okay, like this is what I want. And they ended up sending me a 20 terabyte hard drive. And I was like, damn, this is exactly what I needed. So I got my backup shit sorted out. And it was something I genuinely needed for the channel, so I was going to buy it myself anyway. I was not going to buy the 20 terabyte version because that's way too expensive, but I was going to buy it myself, and I figured, you know what, you don't lose anything by asking the question. So I was like, why don't I ask if they're willing to send me one in exchange for a little bit of social media coverage? And they said yes. So that was really good news for me, because I think it's just proof that I think once you start getting near the 100,000 mark, I think you start to get taken a bit more seriously as a channel. So maybe it's going to open up some more opportunities for me to get some cool stuff that I couldn't have gotten before, and to share it with you guys, because at the end of the day, it's something that I can vouch for, right? I mean, it's not the sake of me just getting something that I wouldn't normally have got myself anyway, and then trying to sell it to you guys as if it's like the greatest thing that's ever been made. At the end of the day, I would have brought this hard drive anyway. I would have brought a smaller capacity version, but I would have brought it. It's a brand I already use. I've got like the same brand hard drive in my desktop computer. My portable hard drive's the same one. So at the end of the day, I'm already just someone who uses this stuff. So I didn't think it was too big a deal. So if you do see some more kind of sponsored related shit with that kind of stuff, that's the backstory behind it, just so you guys know. So I will be seeking out opportunities for stuff that I think is going to be related to the channel or to me as a person. So obviously, like hard drives are a good example, like obviously, you know, games, recording equipment, maybe like headsets, headphones, any of that kind of stuff. If people are willing to send it my way, and it's something that I'm willing to use, something that I've enjoyed using, something I want to use, of course I will share that kind of stuff with you guys as well in a hashtag sponsored format. But it's just going to be like very kind of non-invasive. I'm not going to start making random videos about sponsored shit, so don't worry too much about it, but you might be seeing a few more sponsored things coming your way in the future as Dansg08 continues to grow ever so slowly. Just as a final note on sponsor stuff, one other little sponsorship thing that I got, it's not really a sponsorship, but I got an email from a company that makes hoodies and like snapbacks and that kind of stuff. And they were like, oh, we've got this like creator program where basically all you have to do is sign up for it, then you get your own specific discount code, and you can just share that however the hell you want. So if you want, don't share it with anyone, don't earn any commission, or share it around as much as you can and earn some commissions from any sales that get made as a result of that. So you might be thinking, yeah, well, that's a bit of a fishy one. But to that, I reply with Hangout number 14, I think it is, where I made a Hangout specifically about t-shirts. For those of you guys that don't know about that aspect of me, I tend to really enjoy like interesting t-shirts and like decorative t-shirts and that kind of shit. So when the opportunity came from this hoodie company, I took a look at their website, and they have some really interesting shit. So another thing that I'm also interested in is space. So I'm very interested in reading about the cosmos and like physics and that kind of shit. And I noticed some really good like space themed hoodies. And I thought, you know what? If you're willing to send them to me for free to sample, send them over. I'll take a look. If they're decent quality, if it's something I'm going to be wearing myself, then I don't mind like sharing it. At the end of the day, all they're saying is, look, just try it. If you like it, share it with your fans. It's totally up to you if you do. So these kind of opportunities have started to come my way. So just a heads up for some of this kind of stuff that you might be seeing in your social media feeds in the future. Finally, we get to 2 very small matters. The first is the 100,000 subscriber milestone, and the second is the 10-year anniversary. Now, I've known for some time now that I will eventually hit the 100,000 subscriber mark, but I've really struggled to come up with a good idea for what I could do for it. Now, part of me wanted to do something really big, something really different, but then part of me just wanted to kind of go back to my roots to some extent, because this channel, as I've said countless times, was created as a result of Final Fantasy X. It was created as a result of the No Sphere Grid Dark Anima Challenge that I wanted to take on in the year 2008. And I thought, well, if that is the genesis of this entire thing, surely I should probably go back to my roots. And when I asked you guys about what kind of things I could do for the 100,000 subscriber special, a lot of you guys just said, look man, just stream some Final Fantasy X, because if there's one thing that most people on this channel love, is me playing Final Fantasy X. So I thought, you know what, that's probably still the most fitting way to celebrate reaching 100,000 subscribers. So the goal will be to do a stream for as long as I can. I don't know, the goal would be to try and complete the game. Maybe I will try to play on the Steam version so that I can use the ×4, and maybe I could try to do a single marathon session where I stream the game from start to finish. That would be really cool. So a 100,000 subscriber special stream of the entire game from start to finish would be kind of nice. We'll have to see how that goes. I will give you guys information about that nearer the time, but there will be a live stream going on. Because I'm in the UK now, hopefully the live stream should be reliable and it should be good quality. So it's not going to be like the ones I did when I was out in Turkey, where the quality was low, it was dropping out, it was dying and this kind of stuff. Hopefully we should have a nice solid stream where I get to play Final Fantasy X for hours on end and chat to you guys about whatever the hell you want. So that's going to be the 100k subscriber special. It's going to be a long ass Final Fantasy X stream. I think most of you guys will probably be pretty happy with that as a result. Now, the fact that the 10-year anniversary coincides so much with the 100k subscriber special is kind of a cool thing and also a bit of a bad thing, because I do want to do something different for the 10-year anniversary special, because the one that I did for the 9-year anniversary, I think it touched a lot of people. I was surprised by the response I got for that. I didn't think many people would watch it, but a lot of people watched it. A lot of people had a lot of things to say. A lot of really cool comments, a lot of heartfelt, interesting comments I read in the 9-year anniversary. So I thought, well, that's kind of got to be something I've got to top, man. I've got to do something different. So for the 10-year anniversary, I'm really not sure. I mean, there's not too long to go for it, but I have a few ideas in mind. So for the 10-year anniversary, now that the Final Fantasy X stream is not an option, because I'm already going to do that for the 100k, any ideas you might have for the 10-year anniversary, do hit me up with them and I will look into it. I'm thinking I might try to coincide it with the YouTube plaque. So as soon as I get the 100k subscribers, I get to get the nice YouTube plaque that symbolizes the fact that I reached 100k. So it's like a nice silver play button that you get, and that's something that I've been dreaming about since 2012, 2013, when I thought maybe there's a very, very slim chance I could ever reach that one day. So that's going to be pretty special for me. So maybe the day that comes, I might try and do a vloggy type thing or something like that, because since I started Instagram, I've been getting a lot of people saying why don't you vlog, man? And vlogs are something that I'm not totally vlogs are something that I've never really been too big a fan of, because I mean, on a personal level, not that I don't like watching vlogs, there are some incredibly good people that create vlogs out there. I mean, Casey Neistat was a good example. I think I spent a few months where I probably watched his daily vlogs every day for maybe a couple of months, 2 or 3 months. I burnt out after a while, but so did he, to be honest. But when it comes to vlogs, I mean, I feel like you've got to be doing some interesting stuff, man. You've got to be living in an interesting place. You've got to have you've got to be doing something interesting. Vloggers, for someone who spends a lot of their time playing video games and editing footage, the work that I do outside of YouTube, a lot of that is also done on my laptop. So I don't tend to have this lifestyle where I'm going out and I'm going to all these crazy places and I'm hanging out with all these interesting people and we're going to cool places and doing really extravagant shit. So I feel like it's not really going to be a very interesting vlog. But I feel like if I could get something to coincide with the silver play button, I feel like I could generate enough content to have a little bit of a vlog type thing. Alongside that, just again as a personality thing, as a character thing, I'm not really the best at drawing attention to myself in public. So vloggers, they've got so used to this and they're so accomplished with it, they can just grab their camera like in the middle of a really busy street and just start talking really loudly and really animatedly into their cameras. They're just walking through this crowd of people, and for some reason it's just like, it's just the way I am. I've just not been able to become very good at that kind of stuff. For me, that's something that I really struggle to do, and I probably wouldn't do it very well. So vlogging in that kind of style is not really great for me. So if I could try to think up a one-off vlog story that would play to my strengths and still be entertaining for you guys, that's something I would like to do, because you get to see something a little bit different, something you wouldn't have seen before on the channel, and we also get to celebrate the 10-year anniversary and get the silver play button as well. So that's something that I might consider doing. So let me know what you guys think about that, something a bit more vloggy to celebrate the fact that it's been 10 years since I started the channel. It won't I won't be able to upload a video like that or make a video like that on the exact date, which is May the 4th, because I'm not going to have time to be prepared for that. But I don't think it matters too much. I can just do it whenever I have the opportunity. It still would have been 10 years since I started the channel in any case. So as long as I do it before the 11th year, I think it'll be fine. So that was it, guys. There was a lot of things I wanted to talk about, but I think I got through it all. There's a lot of different stuff in there, stuff that you probably weren't expecting me to talk about, but I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have any questions about anything I've talked about, anything you want to discuss, do hit me up in the comments. Remember that Instagram, do hit me up on there. I'd be happy to chat to you guys. I'll be sharing hopefully some more interesting and cool stuff as we move forward in time. And look forward to that God of War playthrough, the Final Fantasy XIII-2 playthrough that's coming, and all that good stuff. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you soon. Take care.